Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 100th episode of the Kicking It with Daree podcast. This is Daree Allen Nieves, and I am so honored and proud to share this experience with you today on my 100th episode celebration. Today, I'm going to talk about my journey through podcasting because it's been a few years and what I've learned. And I'm also going to list and summarize the top 5 most popular episodes of Kicking It with Daree. We are also going to hear a few wise words from some past guests on some advice just for you. So again, welcome to the show, and let's get into it. I realize that there are many of you that are listening that may not have been with me through the beginning of my show when it started on August 4th, 2015. There were a lot of things that I did to prepare to start a podcast and a lot of articles that I read, a lot of other podcasts that I listened to see what they were doing. But ultimately, it was always within me to be able to speak. And I was a speaker already. I was a writer, an author, and I knew that I wanted my voice to get out there in another realm because everybody doesn't like to read. I mean, I don't know why, because I love it, so I don't understand that. But even my own daughter, it's kind of weird. I know she's my daughter, but she doesn't like to read. So podcasts are a great way to get knowledge to people that either don't like to read or just don't have time to read everything that they want to, which is understandable. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself for those of you that have not been listening that long to me, and then I'm going to go into some more reflections that I have. As what I like to call an authorpreneur, an author that's an entrepreneur, a podcast host, blogger, writer, life coach, speaker, and also a voice talent. Although I wasn't when I started. I was all those other things before I started this podcast and became a voice talent later. Running a show is a way for me to showcase these talents and become more of an authority and a thought leader and develop the platform and, get some brand awareness out there. It's another form of content. We talk about content creation a lot in the business world and in social media. And this is another form of content. And I had to learn, of course, how to use studio equipment, how to set up, the proper space for recording so it doesn't sound like I'm in a bathroom with echoes and be annoying to listen to, and other techniques as well. And as I went on, I'm sure there's a great difference between, my first year or two of podcasting and where I am at now. I've gained a lot of confidence. I've gained a lot of knowledge from the guests that have come on and shared their expertise in lots of things that I didn't know about, whether it was some kind of health, wellness, business type of topic. And I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you for listening all this time. The main reason that I started the show, above all else, is just an extension of my main mission in life, which is to help women of all ages live their best lives with more confidence and with higher standards. That is a motto, a mantra, a mission, whatever you want to call it, that has never left me in the past 10 years that I've been in business. It has never, ever left me. So I hope that there's something that's been said, whether it was in the last episode about Girl Code or sometime in these last 3.5 years, that has inspired you to want to live a more fulfilling life and to make changes that are necessary so that you can thrive and be successful and help other people the way that I'm aiming to do with this show and with my business. What I like most about podcasting is sharing my message with the world, of course, meeting lots of folks. Like I said, all these guests, some of these people have come from other continents, helping so many people that I know I'll never meet. I'm so thankful to the 80 plus guests who've been here with me these last 3.5 years, some of whom I sought out to share their wisdom and expertise, and some of whom have graciously sent me new nuggets of wisdom to share with you. And I will play those a little bit later in the show. I also continue to get requests to come on my show, but for the past year, I've been doing solo shows. It could be kind of hard to coordinate. It's time consuming to coordinate guests for your show if you don't have an assistant or whatever. And then when you add to it on top of that, everything that I've been through in the past year with losing my husband, relocation, things like that, it just made more sense for me to do more solo shows than to try to always either coordinate with somebody or find somebody or what have you. But the next episode that I'm going to do will be a new interview for you. And with that, I'd like to just give you a quick PSA about pitching shows, because my next guest was pitched to me from a PR person that I have a relationship with. But there's a lot of people that come to me on LinkedIn that I don't have a relationship with, that I have not connected to, worked with, spoken to, seen before. And so here's my little quick PSA about that. If you don't understand what a show is about, or if you haven't even listened to it, you should not send an unsolicited request to be on the show. It's the same advice that I used to see over and over again when I was freelance writing and I would pitch outlets for, stories and articles that I could write for magazines and blogs. You have to know the medium that you're pitching and be clear how you can serve their audience, because everybody's number one question is when you approach them, well, what's in it for me? And for me, it's not necessarily what's in it for me, it's what's in it for my audience, the people that are listening to my show, which are predominantly women. So when I get a LinkedIn message or an email with a ton of text, like someone's just like up-checking their bio on me and we haven't even said hello before, that's a huge turnoff. And I have to say that you should stop doing that. So now, back to our regular programming, okay? Let me tell you about the all-time top 5 shows that I have, I think. I'm going to tell you why I'm not sure. The host provider that I have has changed the way that they measure statistics and downloads. They changed it about 14 months ago. So I'm not able to definitively say what my exact top 5 episodes are, but I try to look at the old and new data, and this is what we're going to go with, okay? Starting with number 5. Episode 84 was called Love Your Body and was Lou Ulrich. And that was a very good episode because that, and there's others where we've talked about body image and why our self-esteem is wrapped up in what we look like, whether it's our body shape, what we see in the mirror. It's a really good episode, and I believe that Lou was on a few podcasts that same month. So she knows what she's talking about. People wouldn't be, trying to talk to her if she didn't know nothing. So I invite you to check out episode 84 if that sounds like something that you're interested in or something that you know a friend may struggle with. Please pass that on. Number 4 top episode was a personal one. It's the second. There's 2 solo episodes in this top 5 list, and the one that really hit people was when I talked about losing my husband in episode 90 called I'm a Newlywed Widow. Now what? And that's exactly how I felt because I knew it was happening and I celebrated my 2nd anniversary alone. So yeah, that one, that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're interested, you're just nosy, if you're dealing with something like that, I encourage you to check out episode 90. I believe I did that episode in May of last year, May 2018. My number 3 top episode was actually my 4th episode that I ever recorded back in August 2015, and it's called Childless, Not by Choice, Part 1, where I interviewed Tangi Henry, who is a nurse and a very inspirational speaker and empowering person, just overall. There are a lot of people that in our society look at women a certain way if they reach a certain age and they haven't had children or they're not married or whatever. I don't understand it. I don't know why that is. Everybody has their own life, their own dreams, and their own circumstances. But in this particular case, it wasn't Tangi's dream to be childless. She wanted to have a child. She's married and, happily married, and that's what she wanted. She wanted a family, and it didn't work out that way. And she's got a lot of reflections there. There's also a part 2 to that show with another guest, Justine Frokler, and she has a book that she talks about that as well. So if that strikes a chord with you, I encourage you to check out those episodes. That's my fourth and fifth episode ever is that topic. Number 2, another very, very important topic about human trafficking or sex trafficking. It's called There's Always Traffic, and I interviewed Dr. Marlene Carson, who lives in Columbus, Ohio. That episode is number 20, and it was published on December 1st, 2015. There's a lot of misconceptions about the types of people. I won't say women or girls because it happens to males too. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the types of people who end up being trafficked and what they look like, where they are, and even the people that recruit them. You know, it's not always a male pimp. There are female pimps out here. That's a thing. So, being that at the time that I recorded that episode, I lived in Atlanta, which is one of the top places for human trafficking, especially at the airport. I really thought it was a critical episode to have, and for people to be educated and understand that it can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter what kind of neighborhood you're from. It doesn't matter, you know, if your child is a boy or a girl. It doesn't matter. So if you don't know, if you think you know, but you don't really know, take a listen to that episode because Dr. Carson is a survivor of trafficking and she helps women at Rahab's Hideaway in Columbus with this, continuing to assist with the education, the support, and the mentoring of people who are around this issue. The number 1 top episode that I've had in these past 99 episodes is a show called To Ghost or Not to Ghost. We Don't Talk Like We Used to. And that's episode 33 that was published on May 2nd, 2016. Ghosting is something that most of us have either done or experienced when someone just vanishes, whether it's a friend or someone that you've been dating or interested in as a love interest, or, you know, someone that maybe used to be a friend, but there's some distance that's come along because of different situations. And that remains my top downloaded episode to date. Now what I'm going to do is shift gears and let you listen to some of my past guests. I went back to the people that have been on this show and I asked them this question. And I've asked them this question. When it comes to health, wealth, personal or professional development, what's the one piece of advice you'd give your younger self, or someone like you, to enrich their well-being in 2019? Check it out.
Hey, Daree, it's Amanda Laird from the Heavy Flow podcast here. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I am so thrilled to share a piece of advice that I wish I could have given my younger self. And if she was listening to this right now, I would tell her, girl, don't work so hard. When I was younger, I really allowed all the boundaries between work and personal life to be porous. Okay, if I'm being honest, that's not even true. It's not even accurate. There were no boundaries because I didn't even have a personal life. I worked all the time and everything I did was about work, 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 work. And while, it was great on some levels, I achieved a lot of professional success. I won awards. I was promoted. I made good money. It really left me feeling empty on a personal level. So now that I am older and wiser, I try to pay just as much attention, if not more, to my personal life and my personal pursuits. And the best part is that my business is thriving more than ever. So by focusing on pleasure and leisure and recreation and the personal relationships in my life, I have seen lots of great business success. So we should definitely be working hard, but not at the expense of our physical, mental, and emotional health. We need to be making time for the personal stuff too.
Mike Domish here with datesafeproject.org. What I would tell my younger self is do less better. Do less. Don't try to get wrapped up in everything you have to get done. Instead, focus on what's the one thing that will really separate you, and do that better. Put more into that. Dive deeper into that. Worry less about having lots of friends and dive into a small core group of friends, 1, 2, or 3, and make those relationships more meaningful. Make the person you love more of a focus. Do less, better. What you'll get is more fulfillment, more joy, more success, because what you'll be doing will be done on such a higher level that will bring a greater impact in this world. It'll bring greater results to this world. You will find more pleasure in doing it. You will gain more confidence as you go on that journey, and you'll just become stronger and stronger and more vibrant throughout your life, all by doing less better.
Hello, Daree. My name is Mitchell Langbert. I'm a professor at Brooklyn College in New York City. I have 3 semifinalist pieces of advice and 1 finalist, 1 winner. And the first semifinalist is, it's important to set goals. You need to have a clear career goal, and you need to focus on that goal. The second semifinalist is the importance of networking. You need to develop long-term relationships with people in your field and work on gaining their confidence so that when there are job openings, you can get an offer or get in the running. Some of the ways to develop long-term relationships are belonging to professional associations and informational interviewing. The third semifinalist is the importance of investing in yourself. Until the 1980s, your career could be viewed as your main source of wealth. Today, you need to have investments in the financial markets. So that means putting away 10 to 20% of your wealth, of your income, every pay period, and investing it in stocks, real estate, and other market investments. That's especially true this year because the stock market is falling and good opportunities for low-priced investments abound. Of the 3, I would say the third is this year's advice. You need to invest and take advantage of the falling market to make yourself rich.
Hello, my name is Tangi Henry. I am a registered nurse and certified life coach. I am the founder of Inspired Sister LLC. And one piece of advice I would give to my younger self is to slow down. Nothing that is yours will miss you. Operate from a place of abundance, realizing your validation comes from God alone.
This is Tyra S. Gardner from Tyra S. Gardner Consulting. If I had to tell my younger self something in 2019, it would be to incorporate self-care into my schedule a little more. Having breaks every now and then in our career life is very much needed. We actually need time to break, time to regroup, from all of life's stressors in our business as well as in our personal lives. Take a little bit more time for me, whether it's doing a massage once a month or taking a mini vacation or a mini staycation. Just basically taking more time out for myself and opposed to constantly focusing in on the workplace.
Hello, this is Nicole Turner, aka The Butterfly, wanting to wish Kicking It with Daree a happy 100th episode. And when it comes to my health, wealth, personal or professional development, one word of advice that I would give to my younger self is really fourfold. Success and stupidity cannot dwell together. Don't be enslaved to the familiar. Your world is shaped by your words, and don't get stuck on history. Basically, in order to progress and move forward, we must have a different mindset. We must surround ourselves with people that don't have linear thinking, much like our own. In order to progress, we must think outside the box and surround ourselves with people who do the same, because linear thinking leads to linear decisions, and linear decisions doesn't lead to progress. So those are the words of advice that I would give to my younger self. It's so valuable.
Lastly, I want to leave you with some of my thoughts for me growing the show, building a base, and what I think lies ahead. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I had to educate myself, like anything new, any new endeavor that you have, about how to podcast, what I wanted to talk about, different formats, software to record with, equipment, and things like that. And I was able to build up my confidence and to where I was able to start a voiceover business a couple of years ago. And it's going really well. I'm excited. I kind of wish I had started doing it about 10 years ago. Maybe 2008 actually is when I first was told, you should do voiceovers, but I was doing other stuff. So anyway, I'm here now, and there's some really interesting ways that you can take one endeavor that you have and build from it, whether it's a book or, whatever you're doing. And so I'm going to be on some podcasts this year talking about the process of transitioning from podcasting to voiceover. If that's something that you're interested in, just follow me on social media and I will be announcing those shows when they come up. I am at Daree Allen on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm really excited. I am excited about being interviewed. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much to Amanda Laird, Mike Domish, Dr. Mitchell Lambert, Tangi Henry, Tyra S. Gardner, and Nicole F. Turner. I like asking that question about what you would tell your younger self, because a lot of times hindsight is 20/20. Not always, but a lot of times it is. There are some things, of course, in life that happen and we'll never really know why or understand. But my first book that I ever wrote is called What's Wrong with Me? And it's full of advice and lessons learned that I would give to my younger self, literally, as I was using the journal entries from old diaries that I had. And I'm giving that advice to youth of today. There's so many things, of course, that I had to leave out. So I just want to add my 2 cents and say that one of the things I would tell my younger self that I haven't already said is to complain less and pray more. There was only one thing that my husband didn't like about me, at least that he said, and that was when I complained. And there were times where the complaining was justified, and then there were times that the complaining maybe wasn't. And that's his opinion. I know that there are times that I can say things that maybe should not be said, especially when I'm driving. Driving in Atlanta can bring some things out of you. But yeah, I would complain less and pray more. But through it all, I just want to keep growing and helping my audience with their personal growth and development. I really want to give you a heartfelt thank you for listening to this podcast, whether this is your first episode, your 10th episode, or if you've been with me since day one. I am so glad to still be here, live and kicking. Thank you. Thanks once again for kicking it with me, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with a brand new interview. Thank you for kicking it with me today on the Kicking It with Daree podcast.